Question number 5, Metiria Turei.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. Tēnā koutou i te whare. My question is to the Minister of Revenue and asks, what has been the overall impact of tax deductions for petroleum and mining expenditures on the level of oil and gas exploration and prospecting in New Zealand since 2012-13? And how much revenue has the government forgone as a result of these tax deductions in this period?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Todd McClay.
Mr Speaker, thank you. I'm advised that Inland Revenue does not collect data on tax deductions for petroleum mining or any other industry. However, I can confirm that the petroleum industry is treated the same as other businesses in New Zealand in respect of deductions. It's therefore not possible to ascertain what the impact of tax measures are on the level of prospecting and exploration. However, other factors such as prospectivity and global commodity prices are likely to have a greater impact on petroleum investment decisions in New Zealand. I am advised that the government has not foregone any revenue based on tax measures in place for the oil industry.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can the Minister confirm that the tax breaks his government has given to the oil industry are more or less than the estimated $36 million that the former Revenue Minister Peter Dunn confirmed in 2012?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Todd McClay.
No, Mr Speaker, in my answer I said that the industry is treated the same, and so I can't confirm that because it's not correct. There is, however, one exemption that's in place for the prospecting industry for oil, and I am advised, Mr Speaker, that this is either neutral from a tax sense or that it's slightly tax positive, and it's a result of our double tax agreements, which mean that anybody that has things in place in New Zealand, non-residents, for more than 183 days must pay tax in New Zealand. We found that there was a churning where exploration items used for exploration could be exported out of the country and brought back in, and deductions therefore would be available. This has been rectified so that that they don't have to be taken out of the country. It actually is good for not only the economy, Mr Speaker, it's very good for the environment.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why is it that his department is not now calculating how much the government is losing in tax breaks to oil companies when the previous Minister of Revenue, Peter Dunn, could when he was Minister?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Todd McClay.
Mr Speaker, I'm not sure where the member gets her figures from, nor whether she's making a reasonable or fair comparison. Inland Revenue does not collect information on deductions. There are no special deductions for the industry she's raised or any other industry in New Zealand. All companies are treated the same. We expect everybody to pay their fair share of tax. We expect them, where there is a deduction that's allowable under law, they may use that. On their profits, they must also pay tax.
Point of order.
Point of order, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave to table a letter from the office of Peter Dunn dated 19 June 2012, which answered the exact question I set down.
The letter's been described. I'll put the lever sought to table that particular letter. Is there any objection? There's no objection. It can be tabled.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
So can the Minister confirm for this House that he does not know how much public money is being lost to the public purse on tax breaks to oil companies?
Okay.
The Honourable Todd McClay.
No, Mr Speaker, it's not that I don't know. What I'm saying to that member is that in as far as revenue collection is concerned, all businesses in New Zealand are treated the same. Where there is a business activity, then there's a cost that's allowable for a deduction under the Income Tax Act. A business can have that deduction. There's nothing special about the oil exploration business or any other business in New Zealand when it comes to the way that we apply proper tax policy.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Are the tax breaks that are given to the fossil fuel industry by this government more or less than the tax breaks given to the clean energy sector?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Todd McClay.
I refer to my earlier answers, but will be as clear as I can. There are no tax breaks in as far as tax deductions are concerned for the oil industry.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Does the Minister believe that he has a better understanding then of what constitutes a subsidy or a tax break than the OECD, who have said that New Zealand's tax concessions, quote, distort investment decisions in favour of fossil fuel production and counteract New Zealand's efforts to address global climate change and thus should be discontinued?
Mr.
The
Speaker.
Honourable Todd McLeay.
No, Mr. Speaker, but what I would say is the government is very open and transparent. I note that the APEC inefficient fossil fuel subsidy peer review found that as well as being physically neutral or positive for the taxpayer, the policies in place actually reduced greenhouse gas emissions and did not encourage wasteful consumption. Further than that, Mr. Speaker, we volunteered to have our policies on mining and extraction and the oil industry reviewed by independent energy and climate change experts at APEC and the FFFSR. They looked at 8 key policy areas, including the 4 related to oil and natural gas production and 4 related to consumption and solid energy. New Zealand's position was completely vindicated this year when the reviews concluded that New Zealand has no inefficient subsidies that encourage wasteful consumption.
Supplementary question, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Minister not see how his failure to reveal to the New Zealand public the tax breaks for the fossil fuel industry makes the Prime Minister look hypocritical when last night he demanded that other countries reveal their subsidies for the fossil fuel industry?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Todd
No,
McLeay.
Mr. Speaker, quite the contrary. The Prime Minister has shown exceptional international leadership on this issue when today he presented a message along with 40 nations calling for the removal of inefficient fossil fuel subsidies. He said phasing out fossil fuel subsidies is absolutely vital if the world is to succeed substantially reducing emissions. He went on to say countries subsidise fossil fuels to the tune of $500 billion in 2014. I note, Mr. Speaker, New Zealand is not one of those, but I have seen a report that says that was on the TV this morning from Green Party MP Julian Genter.
Order. That part of the answer is not going to be necessary. Question number 6, Sarah Dowie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.